So we
Mhm.
always knew the value and appreciated the value of real estate. And we decided, hey, how do we do something together and try to build something together for our family and help our family and friends and others build generational wealth and a financial legacy. So we're excited.
I love that. I love the vision that you have for it. It's bigger than just making money. It's great. So let's say I'm an investor and I want to invest in your company and your syndicate. How do I go about doing that? Welcome to Concrete Build Crypto Financing, where we explore the intersection of real estate and crypto financing. We invite leaders, experts, and both real estate and crypto investors on our show to gain knowledge into the revolutionary new field of tokenized real estate. First, here's a word from our sponsor. What if you could invest in real estate with just a few clicks? Introducing Concrete Build, CBLD, where real estate meets blockchain. With CBLD, you can fund and own a stake in tokenized real estate, backed by cutting edge 3D printing and commercial properties. Earn passive income, invest securely, and help solve the housing crisis. The future of real estate is here. Are you ready? Invest today at concretebuild.org. Concrete Build, tokenizing properties, tokenizing wealth. Now, I'd like to introduce our guest. Our guest today is Marv McGuire, and he's an expert voice in the field of commercial real estate. Marv's company, Hartsil Capital Partners, specializes in multifamily real estate as a way to build generational wealth for investors. And we are delighted to have him here tonight. Please join me in welcoming Marv McGuire.
Uh,
Marv, how are you doing today?
I'm doing great, Nelva. Thank you so much for having me. I'm really looking forward to our conversation.
That is wonderful. So I ask all of my guests this question. What do you see as the future of real estate, and how does crypto financing play a part in that future?
Well, like we said before we started recording, I am definitely not a super tech savvy or crypto extraordinaire, but just from what I'm seeing in my perspective in the commercial real estate space, I think the tokenization of real estate is the future. I see, property titles, mortgages all being put on the blockchain, and I see people being able to invest in real estate with crypto. So I think it's the future for sure.
Being that you're in commercial real estate, is that something that you or your colleagues have looked into or are considering?
I haven't looked into it deeply. I've got a close colleague who is a real estate lawyer that is really, really digging into it. So I need to have more conversations like this with you and other colleagues to really get into it.
That's wonderful. And as you know, we want everyone, all of our listeners especially, to do their due diligence. Learn all you can about any investment, especially alternative investments, which real estate and crypto fall under, before you jump in there. This is a great resource right here, this book, Concrete Bill Crypto Financing. So, Mark, tell me a little bit about your commercial real estate company and exactly what do you guys do and what areas do you cover?
Sure, for sure. Well, we do something called multifamily real estate syndications. Syndication is when a group of people pool their money to buy commercial real estate, and a multifamily property that qualifies as a commercial asset is 5 units or more. So I just tell people we buy and sell apartment complexes. And once we buy an apartment complex, we operate it like a business. And apartment complex, they're valued not like residential real estate. Commercial real estate, specifically multifamily real estate, is viewed and valued on how much money it makes. So we buy
Right.
these properties, we run them like a business, we try to increase the revenue and decrease the expenses, and that in turn increases the value of the asset. And that
Right.
value and that profit we distribute as passive income to our investors and our partners.
That is wonderful. How many multifamily apartments do you guys have currently in your portfolio?
We currently have 850 apartment units,
Wonderful.
six complexes. All but one of them is already cash flowing and going gangbusters. The one that's not, we just closed on January 31st. So we typically tell people it takes us about 9 months after we close the property to implement our business plan and renovate units and renegotiate contracts and things like that. So we close the property, and about 9 months later, we start issuing passive income checks.
Usually they tell you 18 months. So you guys do it in a much shorter time frame. So you must have a really great system already in place.
Great system and great partners.
That is great. So tell me a little bit about your partners. What makes your system so great?
Well, my primary partner is my wife of 32 years.
Smart
And
man.
yeah, exactly. I know where my bread is buttered, as they say.
Yes, yes.
So I raise capital for our deals, engage investors all across the United States. And like we said before we started recording, I'm actually in my truck. And after we finish, I'll go in and speak to a group of investors about some of the deals that we've got in our pipeline. My wife, in turn, is an exceptionally talented commercial underwriter. So he's talented at doing the financial analysis of these properties. And for example, last year she underwrote 400 potential opportunities. We bid on 20 of those properties and we closed on one. So we're pretty selective. Uh,
Yes.
and we put a lot of our own money in these deals, so it ensures that the incentives are aligned. Our other partners are more operationally. We've got one of our partners, a gentleman named Scott Jacobson, is
Mhm.
a 20-year CPA, manages all of our finances. One of our other partners is a guy named Michael. He is an SEC attorney, so he does all of our paperwork to make sure that we're
Mhm.
following all the SEC regulations. And
Yes.
our final partner, a guy named Francesco, is an operational expert. So he's done thousands of these, managed thousands of apartments across the United States. So he really knows how to fine tune what the business plan looks like and what looks right for the different types of assets that we purchase.
That is wonderful. So you mentioned you have 800 units. When did you guys start doing this? It sounds like you've been in the business for some time.
We started 26 months ago, if you can believe that.
Really? You
Yeah, we
you
did.
acquired 800 in 2 years, a little bit over 2 years.
We did. We've been very blessed. So before we got involved in this, I spent 25 years in the Navy,
Okay.
and then I spent 10 years in corporate sales. I left IBM in 2023, and my wife and I wanted to start a business, and she's been a residential real estate agent for about 20 years. So we
Mhm.
always knew the value and appreciated the value of real estate. And we decided, hey, how do we do something together and try to build something together for our family and help our family and friends and others build generational wealth and a financial legacy? So we're excited.
I love that. I love the vision that you have for it. It's bigger than just making money. It's great. So let's say I'm an investor and I want to invest in your company and your syndicate. How do I go about doing that?
Well, typically people will contact me either on social media or via email. I'm real active on LinkedIn and Facebook, and I like to have a call just to make sure that our objectives, culture, and values are aligned. Because once you invest in one of these deals, it's illiquid. So you're going to be invested in these deals. We keep deals for 5 to 7 years.
Hmm.
And I just want to make sure that people understand exactly, what they're getting into and try to do some education and kind of temperature check. Hey, what are your goals? Are you really trying to save on taxes? Because these syndications are great tax savers. Are
Yes.
you trying to double your money? Well, that's our goal, is to try to double your money in 5 years. So really try to get where people are and get to know them, because we feel like you ought to know somebody if you're going to invest with them. So
Hmm.
typically they'll reach out, we'll get connected, we'll have a 15 or 30-minute phone call, and then we'll put them on our newsletter and we'll send them a bunch of educational content. So we send them about a series of about 10 to 12 emails that describe the nuts and bolts of our business model and the multifamily industry. Typically, when we get a deal, we'll send it out via that mechanism, and we'll host webinars to go over any questions and the specifics of the deal. After that webinar, we send folks to an investment portal and they get involved like that.
Well, I do hope that you really look into tokenization because that could help solve some of the illiquid issues that some of your investors might have because it does help them have a piece of a stock, which makes it where it's tradable. So tell our viewers where they can find you and where they can potentially become one of your investors.
Sure. On LinkedIn, I'm just under my name, Marvin McGuire.
Hmm.
I'm just the bald guy, so you'll be able to see.
Okay.
And Facebook, we have a Facebook page called Hartsil Capital Partners.
Okay.
And then on Instagram, it's just at Hartsil Capital.
Wonderful. Is there a meaning behind Hartsil?
My
Okay.
grandfather was a gentleman named John L. Hartzell,
Okay.
and he had a big farm in Texas. And when he died, he left each of his grandkids a little inheritance. So
Love
a
that.
way to honor him, we named our company after him.
And keeping that whole generational wealth legacy going. That is great.
All about legacy and trying to lift up the next generation. Yes, ma'am.
Definitely. Well, we will be sure to add that link and how to contact you in the description. And just to tie this in a nice little bow, it's so important to have diversification, right, in your investments. And everyone obviously owns stocks, but real estate, crypto are really great alternative investments. And obviously, do your due diligence so that you know what you're investing in. Contact Hartsil Capital Partners if you're interested in becoming a syndication and read our book. So
Read it.
yes, it's a great read if you want to learn more about crypto. So Concrete Build, tokenizing properties, tokenizing wealth.